you're strapped for cash right now. You're paying for energy, higher food costs, but you got that nice little nest egg sitting there in your 401k, and now in the mail comes an offer for a debit card that would allow you to tap into that.
Whenever you want.
How convenient is that? But is it a good idea or not? Joining us with their respective views on that in Phoenix, it's Jacob Gold, president of Jacob Gold Associates, and in Las Vegas, founder and president of 401k administrator Steve Beatty. Good to see you both. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Jacob, you hate this idea, don't you?
You know, I do. There are several reasons why I feel that this is inappropriate for the employees to participate in. Is Americans are already underfunding their retirement, and I feel that this is just too readily accessible, and individuals will abuse these funds for their retirement, and it will reduce their already low chances of becoming financially independent in the future.
Steve, you clearly say you don't like the idea behind a debit card that would tap into your 401k, but you say there are some benefits.
Yeah, Michelle, it's so easy to be negative about these things. Jacob makes good points, and for some people that's very true, but think about it. All of us need a lot more peace and make it easier in our lives. You know, going to the HR department, it's a pain for the HR department to process these loans. Irresponsible people are going to be irresponsible with their money if they've got easy access or not. So why not, for those who can handle it responsibly, make life a little easier?
What about that, Jacob?
Well, you know, the biggest problem that I have with the access via the debit credit card is if someone were to take out a loan from their 401k using this credit card, the biggest problem with it is they have to pay the credit card company back directly. And if for whatever reason, if they're late on a payment, if they forget to make a payment, they run the risk of having that loan be considered a distribution, at which time the entire loan amount will be considered taxable income plus a 10% penalty if they're under the age of 59 and a half.
Yeah, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, on the other side, so many employees are laid off or terminated from employment, and they've taken these loans out, and suddenly they're distributions now, and they're unwittingly and unknowingly stuck with all this tax on money they've borrowed, which further depletes their retirement savings. This gives them a way to have a nice portable loan that they can take with them if they do leave their employee. It makes life a lot easier for people.
Yeah, what about that convenience factor, Jacob? I mean, at some point, can you foresee a need that people would have to tap their 401k?
No, I look at 401k assets as being sacred assets. We work with a lot of corporations and manage their 401ks. And if someone really needs to access the cash inside their 401k, they can contact the plan sponsor and get the money within 5 to 7 business days. So it's not as difficult to gain access through a traditional loan procedure. I just don't see a need to have a checkbook or a debit credit card there. I think it's just too tempting for people to purchase.
Yeah, you hear the message there, right? Don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it.
And we preach that. We manage 130 retirement plans. We preach that, and we talk about that, you know, save for retirement. This is a retirement account. But frankly, we have employees who are younger or Hispanic who don't trust even saving at all if they can't have access to their money. If it's tied up for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, they're not going to save in the first place. So these things could actually increase participation by giving people confidence they can get at their money if they need it.
But it's not a delayed savings account. I think that's the key there. People should put money into a 401k knowing that they're not going to touch it for 10, 20, possibly 30 years.
Steve, being Hispanic, can I just ask you what you meant about that in terms of attitudes by Hispanics and savings?
I don't mean anything in specific.
No, I don't think you do either, but I think a lot of people would be wanting an explanation.
I've found that we have large numbers of Hispanic employees at some of our employers, and if they don't trust that they're putting their money away somewhere safely, that they can have access to it, if they don't see their supervisor putting money in, they just won't save. And the whole idea behind these, Jacob's point's valid, this isn't some deferred savings account, but the bottom line is people need to save for their retirement, and anything that encourages that, increases participation, is a good idea in my book.
You know, on a side note, I've done a lot of personal finance for Hispanics and directed at Hispanics, and if you come from a country where the banking system was not to be trusted, you don't like putting your money in places where you can't touch it. So
that's the rest of the story there. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Bye-bye.
Street signs coming up at the top of the hour. Let's see what we can look